Okay, this is going to be a more fun presentation because what we're talking about is basically no cost, low cost, and right cost strategies for reducing energy. Okay, let me see if I got this right. Okay. What works? We're going to talk about what works, what doesn't work, and what needs to happen so that we can reduce more energy. Now, the first thing we should look at is auditing our bills. My goal has always been to focus on saving money. My first thought is what can we do to save money? Now, based on just looking at the bills, that was no cost for me. I just had time. But I looked at bills at St. Louis Public Schools, and I came up with approximately $250,000 of savings based on just reviewing and auditing your utility bills. Now, as you see, they're in water, sewer, as well as gas and electric. So there's always opportunities to save money when you review your bills. Benchmarking. For our school district at St. Louis Public Schools, we had a $10.2 million budget. And as you see, 71% is electric. We use natural gas basically for boilers. Everything else, lighting, computers, air cooling, refrigeration, electric. Plug loads, all electric. This right here is just something that I did to look at the cost per square foot of a building. And it's really nice and pretty, so when you show your bosses, they look at it and go, oh, wow, why does that location use that much electricity? The first location, food service, is a building that has maybe 110 metal halide lamps in it, and it's on all the time. So that's why we have so much, and they also have refrigeration, so that's a reason why that's so high. But this simple bar graph allows you to look and see what these are the top 25 issues at the school district, and you get to look at what's going on, electric, gas, and water. And as you see, mainly we have issues with water. Apply for state-driven energy loan. Okay, what we did is we recently, because we see that majority of our utility cost is electricity and we need to save that, we applied for a state loan. And what this loan does is it focuses on, energy efficiency projects. It's at 2.5% over 10 years. It does not increase your debt service, because when you're a school district, you don't want to increase your debt service. So this is the type of loan you should look for. They used to be 0%, but that's changed over the last 5 years. Okay. And also, there's no vote required from any of the city school people, and it's reimbursable. Let me go to the next slide. Okay. The loan amount we applied for was 1.6. Majority of the work that was being done is LED lighting. We're doing it at 67 buildings, basically focusing on gyms, all high bay areas, gyms, cafeterias, libraries, places where you have metal halides or high pressure sodium lamps. They don't turn them off because you have a strike time about 25 minutes or more. And in some cases, if you turn them off, you can't turn them back on. They're also looking at adding a new boiler to one of the schools. The thing about this loan that we apply for is flexible. So if we want to change, like if we're closing some schools or we see some other schools that have some better opportunities, we can change the loan. And now based on the projects, the LED projects that we're doing, and also the boiler retrofit, we're going to save about $212,000. Applying for rebates. Now, we got incentives back of $193,000. We might as well say $194,000. Now, that was just me by myself looking at opportunities and applying for the applications. and it does take a long time. But I'm going to show you the breakdown. If you look at this breakdown real quick, you see that most of the money that we made off of the incentives were on standards. Now, standard applications are things that, like in our area, St. Louis area, lighting is standard. They give you a $5 per bulb. Refrigeration projects, kitchen food projects, things like that are standard. So you can apply for standard all day long, and you could do it within a 6-month period. Now, custom, you have to do all your custom applications before you actually do the project. So you make money on these, but you make more money on the standard. So if you are doing major projects, and if your food service people are installing like non-Energy Star equipment, make them install Energy Star equipment. In our area, you could automatically apply for a rebate. So you're making money off of something that you're already going to do. That's what I saw. I saw that the school district was building and installing different projects, and we're not applying for these incentives. So I just started applying for them. And it became so successful that they started looking at this as money coming in and asked me, why aren't we not making the same amount of money this year back in refunds? And I said, it's because we're not doing those type of projects right now. Okay, this is a sample. This is a type of projects that we're doing. Everybody, initially, we had metal halides. We still have a lot of metal halides. And we're going to T5 high outputs. Now, this is before we decided to go to LED. So right now, this is what we did do 2 years ago, okay? And so you see, this is one of those, I would call it right cost projects, because it costs money, but it's within the payback period that makes sense. Vashon High School. Vashon High School is it is as big. These are both the same gym. It's just two different sides. So that's the stadium side, and this right here is just the regular prep side. This school also, we had metal halides in. We actually had to add more light to add the T5 high outputs. So we went from 95 to 115, but we still saved money. And with the new control system that we were able to put on, we also reduced the amount of time the lights were on. So now this is the whole thing about what works, including it in your RFPs. That's what I started doing. I started asking that the HVAC managers, the food service people, IT, as well as our operation team begin to put in their RFPs that the contractors must apply for these kind of rebates. Also, what we did is make sure that we had meetings between the various utility companies and our various departments. So that made it a lot easier to make this happen. What needs to happen next? Require buy-in of all team members. So what that means is everybody needs to understand that this is something that has to be done, instead of some people doing it, some people don't. Because this is just money being lost when you don't apply. And the last thing, contractors must be held accountable. What happens is mainly contractors will, as you know, when you try to collect the information from them to process these applications, they don't want to give it to you, because what you're basically asking them is to break down their costs for doing business. And typically, they don't want you to know that it's really costing you, you're paying $25 for something that really, it costs them $10. So we had to work that out so that we can start getting that information and process these applications quicker. Okay, so we talked about develop energy saving training for our maintenance staff. The reason why we did this is our maintenance staff at St. Louis Public Schools can buy equipment. They can go and say, we need some lights, and they'll go buy metal halides, even though we're trying to get away from that. So What I did is I set up a program and it cost me nothing. I set up programs with various companies and they would come in and do workshops. And I basically had a stipulation that they cannot sell. The goal is not to sell, the goal is to educate. So everything that they did was only educating our staff on why this product is good, where it could be used, how you would install it, and they didn't have a problem. So we had Rab Lighting, Krieg, Graybar, which is a supplier of various products. We also had Ameren come in, talk to our HVAC guys to show them opportunities for saving money dealing with HVAC. Sylvania, Toshiba, VFDs, one of the best things you can do is install VFDs to save money as well as get incentive money. And occupancy sensors are another thing that's excellent to do, but you need to make sure that whoever you hire, we had issues where electricians, I don't even want to call them electricians, but they shut down our building. We had one guy did it twice, and we had him kicked off the job. But I'm just saying that occupancy sensors look easy to install, but they're not. If people are cutting wires that they're not supposed to cut, then it's not done properly. And so that's why we had training not only for our staff, but for the contractors that were hired to do the work. So we made sure they knew what they were doing before they came in. Another strategy that's a no-cost strategy is shut down buildings. Shutting down buildings during breaks. For school districts, we all know that is where the money goes out the window. Before we started this program, people were leaving lights on, refrigerators running, refrigerators filled, dogs and cats in buildings because the air conditioning had to be left on, and just the whole 9 yards. So the first thing we did is, this was our first attempt. This is like in 2011. This is our first attempt to put together a shutdown guideline, and you guys can see it's a lot of writing, a lot of stuff, and a lot of people got confused when they saw this. So what I did next is I changed it. I made checklists, because everybody can do a checklist. And what I did is I made it specific for different groups. So I would have one for the teachers and staff. I made one for the principal. I made one for the custodians, food service, after school programs, as well as coaches. Because if you're a public school, you know the coaches come in and out when they want, and they typically leave the lights on unless they're told not to. So we put this stuff together for them, and now principals are actually instructing their whole staff to fill these out, and they're providing it for us so we could document what's going on, and then we could go to the school and see if that's really what we see happening. We also have another school, the Principal Frederick Steele. He uses these as a closeout document. So it's working out that people are kind of implementing this into their process for shutting down buildings. Okay, what works? Our operation manager placed this guidelines in the principal's newsletter. So it went out on the principal's newsletter. But you know how it is. When things go out on big emails, people don't read it. So, but at least our CEO tried to do it that route. Then what we did is we worked with our staff and also our Go Green newsletter and put it out. We met personally with custodians and food service staff to show them what they need to do specifically. And what we found is when you meet with people specifically in groups, they tend to do the work. And I start seeing that we were getting back more and more documents. What needs to happen? It should be mandatory that all schools do this. Right now, it's not, but I think we're going to work it out. Well, I think it's going to become an issue where they're going to make it a standard process. We need to somehow provide incentives or acknowledge people, because we had some schools, high schools, that they had 150 of these checklists returned because every teacher and every staff member turned it in. And we need to somehow acknowledge that. Right now, we're doing nothing. We're just saying thank you very much, but we should do something like that. Okay, this is a really pretty side. We put together our IGO Green SLPS Challenge pilot program. And what this program is about is to, basically get the staff and the students involved in energy and resource conservation. Okay, it's a voluntary program. It's year-long. It's project-based, STEM-based. Focuses on recycling, energy use in education, water conservation, and gardening. So basically, we have about 23 schools participating. We had 12 elementary, 3 middle schools, and 8 high schools. Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. I made a mistake and threw this out. And what do you guys think about that? And this is not rhetorical. I really want a response. Now, I threw this out to teachers. And the reason I'm asking what you think is, when I was looking at it, I didn't think it was too big, and I said, oh, I would just do the ones I want to do. But talking to the teachers themselves, I found that they thought this was too overwhelming. They felt that, I was thinking, you just pick what you want to do. I was giving you options, but they saw it as having to make decisions that they didn't want to make and things of that nature. So this is one of the things that did not work because I did not receive any information back from them unless I went and personally talked to the teachers and the principals regarding this information. Provided green curriculum. We had a website, and we provided the green curriculum on the website, so all they had to do is click on it and go. And that's another thing. They don't want to click and go. They don't want to do that either. They have too much stuff that they're working on, so they really want us to break it down and just give them a booklet, and then they could pick out the booklet what they want done. Now, some of the things that I did is we had a program called Green Quest, School Quest in Missouri. That's done by USGBC. And it's basically a no-frills, no-cost, low-cost project that young schools, private and public schools can get involved in. We had 8 schools enter and 6 people completed. The thing about this is you can get your own mentors. I was looking for a way of getting free volunteers, and this program provided that. Now, we did have a first place winner, and their project was related to recycling, benchmarking, as well as building benches out of, I guess, there's a new thing now that people are building plastic benches out of bottle caps. So they were collecting bottle caps. That was a recycling thing. And they also got various corporations that's now working with them. But as you see, some of the other projects, they're all related to recycling, gardening. Nothing really has anything to do with energy. Okay. I was working with some high school students because I was tired of everybody doing recycling projects and stuff like that. I said, hey guys, why don't you do a renovation project? Why don't you look at your school and see what you can do to save money? So that's what they did. And if you want to see the project, it's over here when you're walking out. Basically, the thing about this project was they focused on HVAC, lighting, and air barriers, or the building leaks. And the reason why that project worked was because not only I was helping them, but you also had Trimco, you had lighting equipment companies, you had their, so we were all working with them and showing them different things that they can do. And these young people, if you go look at their project, did an excellent job. I think they actually got an A on this project because it was a project done where other design engineers came in from various companies to review various options, and they came up with some great ideas of what to do. The reason why I didn't put that up here is I said it was over there, and I didn't want to take the time out to talk about it because we had to go fast. So what works, I have to visit schools. You have to become personal. I had to go visit the schools myself to obtain the data that I needed to look at the results. Implementing the shutdown worksheets really worked out. That was something that was done by not only these people who were in the pilot, but also our other schools were very active in doing that. What needs to happen, we need mentors at every school. That's very important. And also we need a sustainability toolkit where everything is in this kit that teachers don't have to think outside the box. Everything's there for them to use, and simplify how the points are. And we had a newsletter, like I said, but using public affairs mass mailings, people do not read. I asked them point blank, did you see it? They don't read. So I decided, okay, I can't go that route. But if I send personal emails, my personal email, they read it. So I have to go, you got to go back to being personal to everybody. And provide utility data. That's another thing. It's very difficult to provide utility data because, you get the data maybe a month, 2 months later, maybe every quarter. So it's very difficult. It's really, what do we do to try to give them the utility data so they can see where they're at against other people? Because everybody likes a competition. So that's what we were trying to do here. Now, I have a good friend. He is the energy director at St. Louis, Detroit Public Schools. And his program is very successful, but he has money. I didn't have any money, so we had no money. So this is what you get with a little money added to it. Basically, he had 65 plus Detroit Public Schools, which equates to about 11,000 students. They saved 1.2 million, and he actually has that quantified over the past 3 years. And they do excellent community projects. I mean, one group of students at one school made a compostable toilet. I mean, they made one. So it was really interesting. And they also, some of the kids in these schools went to the White House and met the president because of one of the projects that they worked on. So this is what I was looking at as a goal to reach for. But my problem is I didn't have any money, nor did I don't have the volunteers that he has. And he also has a company that actually works with him, and they actually run that piece. Because not only was I doing that, but I was doing all the other stuff that you saw before that. So it was very difficult to do it all and get it all done. See, I missed some incentives because I was working on this. So sometimes we do need some assistance so we can make things happen. Okay, this is the end of this is the end. We're talking about energy reduction strategies. Which one should you try first? I say, based on the money that you could save, it doesn't cost anything to audit your bills. That's something that you should always do because these people make mistakes. I've seen it. I've caught them. They make major mistakes. And they hope that we don't notice. So it's always good to audit our bills. Another thing to look at is the energy loan project. I mean, it's a great project. It's $1.6 million to save 212. That's 8.5 years. Now, that's not including, if you do all the incentives, that's going to bring down. So we'll actually have, and that incentive money is going to go toward paying the loan. So we will have more money to pay the loan. Dealing with the incentives that we got before, just doing incentives, it makes sense. I mean, it takes some time. You may have to select somebody and say, this is what you're going to be doing, but they'll pay for their salary. And the last thing, dealing with equipment, shut off, shut on, shut down. I didn't have the newest data to really see if we're saving money. I could tell we are because I walked through the buildings and it was dark. I've never seen it like that before. They were always, hallways were lit. Everything was lit. Now it's more emergency light. Now the I Go Green program, we only did it last year. And this year, I'm not sure if it's going forward because I'm no longer at the school district. But I've been asked to come back and see if I can work with them for them to go forward. Okay, I just threw this in here because I thought this was hilarious because it reminded me of some contractors. So if there's some contractors in here, I'm sorry. But, you know, how do we get out of here? I just thought that was hilarious. But you want to make it really efficient, but it's not practical. And a lot of times when you're dealing with contractors who want to do the dimming and they want to do all this additional stuff, and all you need is LED lights installed with simple occupancy sensors, and it can save you just as much money. And so that's kind of what I was referring to there.